6.6 Markups and Discount, Day 1. As you can see, our standard 7EE3 with multi-step problems, but as you scroll down, we're really going to work on this markup, discount, or markdown discount, how they can be referred to, marks up, and we're going to talk about tax and tip as well here in this video. So as we go on then with that, we can talk about a discount. A couple of different ways to find it, but the way I find the easiest way that most people, whether you are my wife or other adults, even other math teachers, we do this in 2 steps. There is a 1-step method. If you want to see that, I'd love to show it to you. Otherwise, discount is a decrease. So what you're going to do is you're going to do 2 steps. First, you're going to multiply, and then because it's a discount, we're taking away money, we're going to subtract that amount that we are saving. So we're going to take that percent of the number, and then whatever that answer is, subtract it from the original price. Down here, we talk about a markup. The word markup has the word up in it, so we can see the price is going to go up from what the store pays, sometimes referred to as the wholesale cost, to what the selling price is, the price you and I pay for. So because it's a markup, you and I are going to take that percent of the wholesale. So we're going to multiply first. And then because the price must be increased, we're going to add. We're going to add that price to the starting, the wholesale. It's a percent increase. And our discount is a percent decrease. So let's practice. The easiest way to do this is every time we're looking at this, find out what we have. Do we have a tax, tip, discount, markup? What is happening? So since we've got a discount, what is our discount amount? It's 35%. For the first and only time, please write down this phrase, 35% of that original price, which is $15. You don't need to underline it, but this is how, because we're trying to figure out this phrase, 35% of 15. That's why we bump. We have to change that to a decimal and take 0.35. The word of means to multiply 15. And that's where we get our answer of $5.25. And oftentimes we think to ourselves, we're done. And the t-shirt costs $5.25, but we're mistaken. That is just our discount. Because it's a discount then, we must show that second step of work of 15 minus the money we're saving, which gets you $9.75. So you've got that step 1 where we multiply. And then because it was a discount, the step 2 that I want to see each time is to subtract. Again, find out. Here's a skateboard, regularly $40, but there is a 30% discount. So since we got a 30% discount, bump, 0.30 of the regular price, $40. Mental math, calculator approved, but don't stop there. Step 1 was to multiply. Step 2, the final answer is not $12. That is your discount. Because a discount is money you save, subtract it. Careful. 28, 38, 18. If you're doing mental math, make sure you get the correct answer. In this instance, we're talking money. So put a dollar sign on it for $28. Each time, find out what's happening. So again, looking at that, knocking out what a discount is, or sometimes referred to as a markdown, which you can see is our vocabulary and be able to do that on our skills over here. So we continue on. A store pays $15 for a baseball cap. That's the wholesale price. Now we have a markup, a markup of 60%. 60% of what? 60% of that wholesale price. 60% of $15. But when you do that, and you get the answer 9, again, mental math, calculator approved, your final answer is not 9. In class, I'd take a moment and say, what does that represent? But here in video notes, remember, that represents a markup. that's how much we need to mark up or increase the price by. So step 2 then, take your original, the wholesale price, and increase it and mark it up. So our final answer is $24. 2 steps of work each time. What is happening? Do we have a tax, tip, discount, markup? Aha, a 15% markup. Bump, bump. 15% of what? Of $80. So you take that 15, be very careful. That decimal is so important. You need to make sure you keep that in the right spot when you write it and when you type it on in. Step 1, we multiply. Step 2, because it is a markup, the only right answer is to mark up the price. So you get $92. Tax, tip, discount, markup. What is it? Which one is it? Because it's a percent of a number. So again, this time we're going to talk some more in this video about sales tax. So check on the weekly agenda to make sure that's what we're covering in our lesson. So we talk sales tax or just plain tax. This is money where, again, it has to be added because you have to pay tax. So again, we're going to do 2 steps where we're going to multiply, and then because we have to pay tax, we're going to add it in for the cost of your shirt, t-shirt, hydro flask, whatever it is, or because you're at a Target or Walmart. And then down here, 2 different words, gratuity, or sometimes it's referred to as gratuity, but most often it's a tip. So when we talk about a tip, in class, I talk a lot about tips for tips, or as well, I talk about if you have to leave a tip, and we have a small discussion about that. But here in the video, just a reminder, you don't need to leave a tip, but you should leave a tip. That is because waiters and waitresses do not make minimum wage. They make $2 or $3 or $4 less than minimum wage because they're supposed to make money, most of their money, from tips, from having good service. So when we have that good service, again, gratuity, same thing. We're going to have to take and multiply, and then we're going to add that on in when we leave a tip. So let's take a look at it. Again, you can see that down here. Taking a break for 1 second, you can see tax, and our scale says either word, gratuity or tip. When I made this video, usually the only time I see gratuity is if I'm with a big group at a restaurant and they talk about 20% or 18% gratuity automatically added. Otherwise, you and I usually are asked, are you leaving a tip? So a Blu-ray movie costs $30. In MyNet, there's a 7.5% sales tax. Find the amount of sales tax and the total price. So always answer the question. To find the sales tax, again, we got tax, tip, discount, or markup. Because there's a tax, it's 7.5% of 30. But don't forget, before you write it down, bump, bump, we do have to move that decimal. Even though there is a decimal, make sure you move it twice. It's 7.5% of the item or the price. Watch that decimal. Make sure you don't miss that. It needs to be typed in as 0.075. So then the tax right here, if they ask you for what's the amount of tax, you're done. But then they said, what's the total paid? So that involves step 1 and then step 2. If the movie is $30 and you have to pay $2.25, your total paid, the total cost for the Blu-ray player is $32.25. Tax is just a percent of something, and then whether your quiz, test, homework, IXL, STAR test, state assessment, answer the question. If they want both the sales tax and the total, do that. If they want just the sales tax, then that's where you stop here. Otherwise, the total price, which you and I are used to, you add it on in. Your food bill comes to $55. You plan to leave a 22% tip. What will your total bill be? Well, what do we have? A tax, tip, discount, or markup? Because we got a tip, it's a 22% tip. 22% of what? 22% of 55 of your food bill. So you write it out, you type it on into your calculator, and it's $12.10, $12.1. At the making of this video, we've found that IXL will often count that wrong. So if your final answer is that, make sure on IXL you add a 0 in. However, this is your homework, and it asks you for the total bill. So answer the question. $12.10 is great, but that is your tip. So then you need to do step 2. Step 1 was to multiply. Step 2, since it's a tip, money that we're choosing to leave, add it on in. Again, for me, I will accept 67.1. That is a wonderful answer. IXL requires at this time to put a 0 in. So make sure you do that if you're on IXL getting extra practice. Otherwise, tax, tip, discount, markup. Usually if they're saying what's your total, you're going to multiply and then add or subtract depending on which one you're doing. This is optional, so sometimes we do this. For this video, I will show it because it is something unique and it is different because it is our finding an original price. There's only one way to do this. We think like we just saw in the notes work, but it doesn't. So again, you can see this is a day 2 preview. This is what day 2, our second lesson on 6.6 is going to cover. But for this one, could you work it out with me? To do this, we need to figure out what percent of the original we paid. I like to do that with a visual. Please draw a box, put 100% on top. From there then, because we have a discount, we need to take away part of our money or part of the bill. So make a line in the box and take away 15%. When you take 15% away from 100, 100 minus 15, you're left with 85%. So you and I are paying for 85%. Please write this on in. 85% of the original, and that equals the sales price. Now you and I are just going to go and most likely buy this, and I talk about it more in class. We're just going to buy the socks and be stoked that we're saving money. We're not going to go back and look for the original price, but this is math we can do. So let's rewrite this. 85%, 0.85 of, let's make that 8.5 look like an 8.5, of some original number that I don't know equals $17. So solve that guy. Divide by 0.85. Don't lose that decimal in your work. Don't lose that decimal in your calculator. It will change your answer quite drastically. So that's where we find out that N equals 20 or $20. The original cost of those socks was $20. Again, maybe you don't care, never going to use that in your life, but it is a standard. It is along with this that we can solve with percent applications. And you can see that again, solving multi-step problems in any form, also solving any proportional relationship with percent problems. So we've talked about markups, markdowns, discount, tax, and tip. So we're going to cover finding original prices on our next day because today we're just working on using percent of discounts to find the new price or the sales price, finding percent markup to find the selling price, the price you and I pay, or finding either the amount of tax or tip, or finding our total bill when leaving a tax or tip.